guys, it's Kelly and I am back with my fourth layout as a guest designer for Clique Kits. And I am taking the piece of basil cardstock that came with the kit, and I am just taking my white Dylusions ink and I am just splattering some ink on the background. I knew that I wanted to add some pops of white, and later on I'll come back and add a few more and some teal as well. So when I saw this butterfly cut file that was a subscriber exclusive, I just about died, and it was perfect for a story that I had been wanting to tell. So I will tell you that a little bit later. First, I'll tell you what I'm doing. So I took some of the 12 by 12 papers and some of the 6 by 6 papers, and I just, roughly cut around each shape, and then I backed it with some Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. And I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it is tedious, but one of the things that I do want to point out is that when I am doing this, I am mirroring the wings. Because there's a bunch of colors in this collection, and because I'm using multiple pattern papers, and with the very graphic lines of the butterfly, I felt like it could very easily get overwhelming if I just put him randomly in there. And so for me, that was my way of having some symmetry, which is found in nature, but also just to bring in some of those bright colors. And this yellow piece of paper is just so you can see what I'm doing. It doesn't make it anywhere on the layout. So when this is finished, you will see that I have come back and I have backed all of the pieces of the butterfly, and I really liked the way that it turned out. It was super fun for me. And this is when the white had dried, so I wanted to see if this Heidi Swapp teal would look good with it. And so I just tested a few drops behind where the cut file would be, and I did like the color, and so I just splattered a few more drops of mist, again, just to kind of bring more depth to the background. So this is another layout that I had started while I was at the library cropping with a friend, so I'm sorry about that black handle hanging at the top of the screen. It will go away soon. So this picture of my daughter is a selfie, and if you have a teenage girl, you know that they love selfies. And what I wanted to do is, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've really been on a mission to get more stories told in my scrapbook. And so far 13, she's going to be turning 14 soon. It really hasn't been a struggle. There's typical teenage moments, but for the most part, it's just been really fun to watch her, kind of change and bloom and grow into a young lady. And so this was a story that I wanted to tell. And so when I saw the butterfly, I thought, what better, there couldn't really be a better choice of an image to use than a butterfly for, my sweet girl who's just, growing up way too quickly for this mama. But so I was really happy when I saw that. And so what I wanted to do is put some journaling on this page. But again, I don't necessarily want everybody to be able to look at the page and know or read the journaling that I'm writing to Emily. So I'm going to put it on a tag, and I'm going to make the tag easily, to be easily slipped behind the photo so that Emily will know it's there. And, if the reader or if someone looking at my scrapbook actually takes time to look and lift the tag, then it's fine for them to read the journaling because they're obviously vested in, the art of the page and the layout. So I don't know if that makes sense or not. I play with this red tag, and I end up pulling out a paler turquoise tag that ends up staying with the layout. It's just not shown right now. So I decided that the butterfly needed a little antenna, and there was some yellow twine that was included in the kit, and I am starting to make the little antenna, and I tie a knot in the end of the twine. And I liked the way that it looked, but it was just a little too short. So I leave it for a minute, and then I end up taking some more twine and making the antennae longer, and I double it over so where it's thicker so it has more of an impact on the page. So the title I cut out with my silhouette, and I'm not sure which font. It was one that I had in my laptop. I can look it up if you really want to know. And I thought the title, Finding Her Wings, would be quite appropriate for, what I wanted to say in the journaling. So I love these sequins that came with the kit, and you can't really see what I'm doing, but these things are like sticking to my fingers, and I end up like throwing them down, and it looked like I was just having a hissy fit with the sequins. So I'm glad to know that it doesn't look quite as bad as it really did in real life. It's cold, so I guess the static with it just made them not want to get off my finger. So here's where I'm looking and realize that, yeah, the antennae really need to be a little bit longer, and I do fix that. And again, I just love the way that turned out. It gives the butterfly a more realistic look, even though this definitely doesn't look like a, real butterfly, but just, sometimes it's the little details like that that make the page just that much nicer. So at this point, I knew that I wanted to color my title, and again, I'm at a crop, so the things that I have with me are pretty limited, but I decided to use distress inks, and I'm going to put some color down, add some water, and then paint the color over the letters just to get the close to a color that is in the layout, and it just adds a little something to the title. So with the first wash that I do, it's pretty pale, and but I decided to go ahead and do all of the letters because I didn't want to just do one like grouping of the letters and have it be a different color, if that makes sense. I was afraid that if I didn't do all of the letters first with that initial color, that when I added the darker color, that you would be able to see a difference in where I did not put that first initial bit of color. So I actually just try adding a little bit more of that same color, but what ends up working is mixing the two of the distress ink colors, and I think it's Spun Sugar and Victorian Velvet that I end up using. I'm not 100% sure though, but it doesn't really even matter. If you haven't used this technique, you don't have to use the same colors that I used for this. What you do is you just play and you find colors that work well together to bring a color that you want. And you can see that when I added that second color, it added more depth to that wash of paint that I wanted, and that was exactly what I was looking for. So a little bit goes a very long way. You don't have to saturate the words. I just cut it out of regular cardstock. It's not watercolor paper. I did not prime it with gesso. It is just plain cardstock, American Craft cardstock, and just take a little bit. So I've been on a sewing kick lately, and if you saw my last layout, that was a bunch of sewing involved, and this one was as well. But for me, sewing is one of the things that I enjoy doing. I feel like the stitching gives the layout a completely different look, and it just brings added depth and dimension, and I love it. So that is one of the things that I do quite frequently, and I just think that it brought a little bit more fun to the layout as well. So I was a little bit anal and had to line it up. My T-square ruler is definitely one of my favorite tools, and it's not that I want it to be absolutely perfect, but I kind of wanted it down. I like following the rules of thirds and having the butterfly take like the bottom 2/3, and then I wanted the middle of the butterfly to be somewhat in the center. I don't ever seek perfection. Close enough is good for me, but I felt like if I got it a little bit off kilter, it would just be very noticeable. So I wanted to use my little Xyron adhesive for this title. The letters were fine and delicate and thin, and I felt like messing with the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. Although the tip is very fine, I just felt like I was going to be more apt to rip it, and going through the Xyron I think helps to bring it a little bit more stability. And I think it's probably just because the adhesive is completely covering the letter. And the other thing that it gave me the ability to do was to frame the word around the butterfly wings. I knew that with finding that part of, that word was pretty long, and I am not that proficient to where I could do it in Photoshop and make it bend around. So I really liked the way that came out as well. So what I'm doing is oh, I forgot to tell you, I used a piece of the packaging. Don't neglect your packaging. I saw it was pale blue and it was perfect, and added some stability behind the picture, and it made it perfect for me to pull the tag out. So here are the close-ups of my video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.